Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Coronavirus vaccinations continued over the long holiday weekend. A mobile clinic brought vaccines to the streets of New York City. The CDC reports 62.5% of American adults have received at least one dose. The number of new daily COVID infections has dropped below 13,000 nationwide, the lowest it's been in more than a year. New surveillance video shows the three suspects accused of opening fire on a crowd outside a banquet hall in northwest Miami-Dade County early on Sunday, killing 2 and injuring more than 20 others. They were attending a rap concert inside. Police say the violence was the result of a rivalry between two groups. Police pulled the stolen SUV the gunman used from a nearby canal late yesterday afternoon. On Memorial Day, we honor those who've served our nation, but some who served have not received the recognition they deserve. American Legion Post 13, in conjunction with Mount Hope Cemetery, hosted a ceremony to remember soldiers who had ties to Jasper County. They honored the unclaimed remains of 3 veterans. Officials with the cemetery say they're glad to be able to give them a final resting place. In 1921, the most preeminent black community in the history of the United States was destroyed in a brutal attack. Tulsa, Oklahoma's Greenwood neighborhood, also known as Black Wall Street, was home to more than 10,000 black Tulsans and hundreds of businesses. As many as 300 residents were killed in the massacre. Yesterday, the Tulsa Community Remembrance Coalition, in partnership with the Equal Justice Initiative, held its final soil collection to honor the remaining unknown victims of the massacre 100 years to the day it began. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
This little band between Monette and Cassville just doesn't want to budge, unfortunately. We need it to move. No lightning, so the severe weather is flooding. That's what we need to worry about. Because if we want to talk about the amounts that we've picked up here in the last 24 hours alone, we'll focus in right there on Monette, where we have now eclipsed the 2-inch mark, moved just to the east. So underneath Monette and Mount Vernon, just to the east, 2.4 inches of rain. In between Monette and Cassville, another 2.2 inches. So know that those roads that are susceptible to flooding have not picked up any closures as of yet, but know that if they're susceptible to flooding, we are definitely headed in that direction. Because you got to remember, it's not just the rain that we've picked up from last night into this morning, but also the soil on the ground just so wet from last week as well. Of course, as you pick up here and you move toward the central portion of the 4 states, that's only in between 1/10 of an inch and 1/4, and we've even got a dry slot running through southeast Kansas. But when we focus on those areas that we're seeing the most amount of water pick up, and of course, that's where we've got our flood watches in effect all the way into Wednesday for southwest Missouri. Focusing on Newton County there, where that expiration time is 7 a.m. Now, throughout northeast Oklahoma, the goal is to hopefully let those expire at 10 a.m. As far as our temperatures today, very mild to begin June. Normally, we'd be high 70s, mid 60s. As good as we're going to get because of the mostly cloudy skies and the rain sticking around now. We will begin our warm-up as we get past today. Rain tapers off tomorrow late morning, and we're up into the 80s there by the weekend. We'll be back with more KOM Morning News right after this.